The jungle doesn't make sense at night. That's the first thing you notice when you're alone on a trail in Oahu after sunset. The colors change. The sounds change. Even the air feels different, heavier, older. Watching. Elise wasn't scared at first. She'd hiked harder trails on her travels. She knew the rules. Stay on marked paths, don't wander off, bring a flashlight, keep your phone charged. Simple. See? But nothing felt simple anymore. What should have been a straight path toward the falls had turned into long, slow curves that didn't match any map. When she checked her GPS, the blue dot spun uselessly as if the phone didn't know which way was forward. Then she saw the footprints. Mud still glistening. Long, wide, bare footprints, far too large to be hers, and all pointing in one direction, toward her. A low vibration rolled through the ground. Then another. A rhythm. A pulse. Like ancient drums beating through the earth itself. She swung her flashlight behind her, and the trees she'd passed minutes ago were now directly in front of her. As if the forest had moved. Or worse, as if the trail itself was rearranging, trying to keep her here. This is where her nightmare begins. And if you've ever hiked alone at dusk, it might feel uncomfortably familiar. Welcome to Cursed Coordinate, Nightmare Tourist Tales, where we expose the dark side of real-world travel destinations. Places famous for beauty by day, and infamous for something else entirely by night. Today we take you to Oahu, Hawaii. A tropical paradise for most, but for a few unlucky visitors, a place where the line between nature and legend dissolves without warning. This episode is based on one of the island's most persistent whispers, a trail where people go missing without explanation, a stretch of forest where GPS fails, where hikers return with stories that never match reality and memories they can't trust. Before we dive deeper, do one thing for us. In the comments, tell us the city and country of the scariest place you've ever visited, and why. The best stories become full episodes. Now, let's follow Elise. Let's walk the same path she walked, and see the signs she ignored until it was far too late. This is the story of the trail that moves. Not for children, and definitely not for anyone who hikes alone. Elise had been traveling solo for years. Backpacking through Greece, hostel hopping in Southeast Asia, sleeping under the stars in Argentina. She wasn't reckless, just curious, and careful enough to survive every trip. Hawaii was supposed to be a reward, her reset button, her breathe and start over destination after leaving a job that had quietly drained her for years. She booked a cheap guest house in Honolulu. The receptionist, a soft-spoken local in his early 20s, suggested the famous Manoa Falls Trail for her first hike. But when she asked about hiking it near sunset, his face changed. "You shouldn't stay up there after dark," he said, lowering his voice. "Not on that trail." She laughed, assuming he meant wild pigs or slippery rocks. He didn't laugh back. She shrugged it off. Every country had myths, warnings, superstitions. Besides, she wasn't planning to hike at night, just close to it. She slept in, took too long at the beach, got distracted by malasadas, and by the time she reached the bus stop for the trailhead, the sun was already low. She debated turning around. But the photo of the waterfall on her phone looked too perfect, too close, too worth it. She hopped on the bus. The trail was crowded at first. Tourists in flip-flops, couples posing for photos, families carrying toddlers. The usual crowd. Harmless. Comforting. She felt safe. She felt excited. She felt like nothing could go wrong. But Hawaii has a way of hiding its warnings in plain sight. Like the way the bird song suddenly cut off halfway through her hike. Or how the air got thick and still as if the jungle were holding its breath. Or how she couldn't shake the memory of the receptionist's face when she mentioned sunset. A face that wasn't worried about weather or animals. A face that was worried about something else. She noticed the fork in the path around the halfway mark. No signs. No markers. Just two clear options. Left, an overgrown path swallowed by leaves. Right, a clean, compact trail that looked freshly walked. She checked Google Maps. Only one trail appeared. She checked all trails. Still one. But she was staring at two. She waited for someone else to appear. A family. A jogger. A couple with selfie sticks. Anyone who could confirm which way was correct. No one came. She chose the right path. The logical path. It sloped gently upward, curved around a bend. And then, silence. No voices. No footsteps. Not even birds. The trees felt closer than before, crowding the trail, their branches narrowing the space until it felt like walking into a throat. She kept going. 2 minutes later, she saw a crooked tree with bright orange fungus growing from a split in its trunk. She walked past it. Then 3 minutes later, the same tree, same crack, same fungus, same shape carved against the sky. She stopped. Then she kept walking faster. And there it was again. She turned slowly in a circle, flashlight shaking in her hand. Either she was lost, or the trail was looping under her feet. But trails don't bend themselves. Not unless something wants them to. Her phone's GPS had stopped working entirely. The blue dot that should have been tracking her location now sat frozen in the center of the screen, trembling slightly as if the device itself was confused. She tried restarting the app. Nothing. She tried switching to airplane mode and back. Still nothing. The map showed her standing in the middle of the trail, but the trail around her didn't match the map's layout. The curves were wrong. The elevation didn't align. Even the direction felt off. It was as if the forest had rewritten itself while she wasn't looking. The sunlight, which had been fading gradually, suddenly plunged into deep twilight. Not the slow descent of dusk, but an abrupt shift, like someone had flipped a switch. The jungle went from gold to blue to near black in seconds. Elisa's breathing quickened. She turned in a slow circle, flashlight sweeping across the trees. Every direction looked the same. Every path felt familiar. Every shadow seemed to shift when she wasn't looking directly at it. She walked faster. Her boots crunched over leaves and roots. Her pulse hammered in her ears. Then she saw it again, the crooked tree with the orange fungus. She stopped dead. This time she was certain. She hadn't turned around. She hadn't doubled back. Yet here it was. Again. A cold realization settled over her. The trail wasn't just confusing. It was looping. And loops don't happen naturally. Not unless something is guiding them. She pulled out her phone and opened the camera, thinking maybe she could document the path, create some kind of visual reference to prove she wasn't going in circles. But when she looked at the screen, the image was distorted, pixelated, glitching as if the camera couldn't process what it was seeing. She lowered the phone. That's when she heard it. A low rhythmic sound. Not wind. Not animals. Drums. Slow. Beat. Pulsing through the earth like a heartbeat. Thump. 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 Each beat vibrated the ground beneath her feet. She froze. The drumming grew louder. Closer. And then her flashlight caught something on the ground that made her stomach drop. Bare footprints. Large. Deep. Fresh. Pressed into the mud as if someone, or something, had walked through seconds earlier. But these weren't hiker prints. They were too wide. Too long. The toes splayed unnaturally as if the weight distribution was wrong. And they were facing toward her. Not away. Elise crouched slowly, her hand trembling as she reached out to touch the edge of one print. The mud was still wet, still soft. Whoever, or whatever, had made these tracks had just been here. Her heart slammed against her ribs. She stood and swept her flashlight in a wide arc, searching for movement, for shapes, for anything that could explain what she was seeing. Nothing. Just trees. Just shadows. Just silence. Then the drum started again. Louder this time. Thump, thump, thump. The rhythm was steady, deliberate, ancient. It didn't sound like music. It sounded like a warning. Her phone buzzed in her hand. She jumped, nearly dropping it. A notification appeared on the screen, but not from any app she recognized. No sender. No icon. Just a message in plain white text. Follow the marked path. "Do not look back." Her blood went cold. She stared at the screen, waiting for more. Nothing. She tried swiping the notification away. It wouldn't disappear. She tried opening it. It didn't respond. The message just sat there, glowing faintly in the darkness. The drums grew louder, closer. And somewhere behind her, she heard the faint sound of footsteps. Not hers. Elise didn't wait to see what was behind her. She ran. Her flashlight beam bounced wildly as she sprinted forward, boots slipping on wet roots, branches clawing at her arms and face. The drumming followed her, steady, relentless, shaking the ground with every beat. She didn't know where she was going. She didn't care. She just needed to move. Then the trail split again. This time the fork was narrower, more aggressive. Left, a tight squeeze between two walls of bamboo, barely wide enough for a person. Right, a steep, almost vertical climb into total darkness. She stopped, gasping for breath, trying to decide. Her phone buzzed again. Another message appeared. Left. Move now. Her hands shook as she stared at the screen. Who was sending these? How did they know where she was? She lifted her flashlight toward the right path and froze. Between the trees, barely visible in the shadows, were figures. Tall, thin, human-shaped. But they weren't walking. They were gliding. Hovering inches above the ground, moving in perfect silence, holding long staffs or spears that gleamed faintly in the darkness. And they cast no shadows. Elise's breath caught in her throat. She didn't think. She didn't question. She bolted left. The bamboo walls closed in around her, scraping her shoulders, tearing at her clothes. She could hear the drums behind her, louder than ever, pounding in sync with her heartbeat. The figures didn't chase her. They didn't need to, because suddenly, the drumming stopped. The forest went silent. Completely. Unnaturally. And when Elise stumbled out of the bamboo corridor into a clearing, she realized she'd made a terrible mistake. The clearing was small, circular, and wrong. In its center stood a stone platform, ancient, cracked, covered in moss and vines. Carvings wrapped around its edges, faces with hollow eyes, sharp mouths, expressions frozen in something between rage and sorrow. The air here felt heavier, thicker, like the atmosphere itself was pressing down on her. Elise's flashlight flickered. She tapped it. It steadied. Her phone buzzed again. She didn't want to look, but she did. A new message appeared. Kneel. Her stomach twisted. She stepped backward, shaking her head. No way. She wasn't kneeling for anything. She turned to leave, and the bamboo behind her had closed. Not bent, not fallen. Closed, as if the forest had sealed the path behind her. Her breathing turned shallow. She spun in a circle, searching for another way out. There wasn't one. The clearing was a trap, and whatever had led her here was still watching. She heard movement, not footsteps. Something heavier, something numerous. Shapes began to emerge from the edges of the clearing, tall, silent, glowing faintly in the darkness. The figures from before, but now there were dozens of them, and they were closing in. Elise ran. She didn't care which direction. She just ran. Branches tore at her skin. Roots tried to trip her. The forest itself seemed to fight her every step, but she didn't stop. Not until the glow behind her became blinding. Not until the chanting started. Not until she realized she wasn't running away from them. She was running toward something worse. The glow wasn't coming from flashlights. It wasn't fire. It was something older. Something that didn't belong to this century. Elise stumbled into a narrow gap between two massive trees and pressed her back against the bark, trying to control her breathing. The light grew brighter, and with it came sound. Not drums this time. Chanting. Low, rhythmic, ancient. Voices layered over voices, speaking in a language she didn't recognize but somehow felt in her bones. A language that predated English, predated colonization, predated everything she knew. She peeked around the edge of the tree. and her blood turned to ice. They were coming. Dozens of them. Tall figures moving in perfect formation through the jungle, their feet hovering inches above the ground. Warriors, dressed in traditional Hawaiian garb, feathered cloaks, carved helmets, ceremonial markings painted across their chests and faces. But they weren't solid. They were translucent, glowing faintly, like projections cast onto the air itself. And yet, the mud beneath them sank. The leaves parted. The bamboo bent as they passed. They were real, or real enough. This was the Night Marchers, the legend every local knew. The procession of ancient Hawaiian warriors cursed to walk sacred paths after dark, punishing anyone foolish enough to cross their route. Elise had read about them online before her trip. She'd laughed. She wasn't laughing now. The warriors moved in silence except for the chanting, their spears gleaming with cold, unnatural light. Their faces were expressionless, empty, but their eyes burned. One of the figures at the front of the procession stopped. Slowly, impossibly, it turned its head toward her hiding spot. Elise's heart stopped. She didn't breathe. She didn't move. She didn't even blink. The warrior stared directly at her. Then it raised its spear and pointed it at her chest. The chanting grew louder. The glow intensified. The forest itself seemed to tremble. Elise felt her knees buckle. She collapsed onto the ground, unable to stand, unable to run, unable to do anything but stare as the warrior began to glide toward her. The air around her thickened. Her vision blurred. Her ears rang with a high-pitched whine that drowned out everything else. And then, a flash, blinding, white, like lightning striking inside her skull. Everything shattered. Elise gasped. Her eyes snapped open. She was standing. Not in the clearing, not in the jungle, at the trail entrance. The parking lot stretched out in front of her, lit by a single flickering streetlight. Families were loading into cars. A couple laughed as they walked past her toward the bus stop. A child ran ahead, holding a souvenir stuffed parrot. Everything was normal. Completely, impossibly normal. Elise looked down at herself. Her clothes were torn. Her arms were scratched and bleeding. Mud caked her boots and jeans. Her flashlight was gone. Her backpack hung open, half empty. But she was here, at the entrance. As if the last 2 hours, or however long it had been, had never happened. She pulled out her phone. The screen was cracked, but it still worked. The time read 8:47 p.m. She'd entered the trail at 6:15. 2.5 hours. That was all. But it had felt like days. She stumbled toward the bus stop, her legs shaking, her mind racing. Had she hallucinated? Had she gotten lost and panicked? Had the heat, the exhaustion, the stress of traveling alone finally caught up with her? She wanted to believe that. She needed to believe that. But deep down she knew. Something had happened on that trail. Something real. Something that didn't follow the rules of the world she thought she understood. The bus arrived. She climbed on. She didn't look back. But as the bus pulled away, she caught a glimpse of the trailhead in the side mirror. And for just a second, she saw them, standing at the edge of the forest, watching, waiting. Elise didn't sleep that night. She sat on the edge of her bed in the guest house, staring at her phone, trying to make sense of what had happened. She opened Google Maps. The trail looked normal. She opened her photo gallery. No pictures. She hadn't taken any. Or had she? She scrolled back and froze. There was a video, time-stamped 2:12 a.m. But it was only 11:30 p.m. now, and she'd been back at the guest house since 9:15. Her hands trembled as she pressed play. The video opened on a view of the jungle from above, like a drone shot, smooth and steady. Mist rolled through the trees. The stone platform sat in the center of the frame, glowing faintly in the moonlight. Then the camera descended, slowly, closer, closer, until it revealed her, lying face down on the platform, motionless, arms spread, exactly as the legend demanded. Behind her, barely visible in the shadows, stood a tall figure, a warrior, perfectly still, watching. The video ended. Elise tried to delete it. Her phone wouldn't let her. A system message appeared. File cannot be removed. Marked path remains. Her stomach twisted. She tried again. Same message. She tried restarting her phone. The video was still there. She sat in silence, staring at the screen, her mind racing. Then she heard it. Faint at first, but unmistakable. Drums. Slow. Steady. Coming from outside her window. She stood slowly, her heart pounding, and walked to the curtain. She didn't want to look, but she had to. She pulled the curtain aside. The street was empty. No cars. No people. Just shadows. And in the distance, barely visible in the darkness, a faint glow. Moving closer. The drums grew louder. Elise stepped back from the window. Her phone buzzed. A new message appeared. No sender. No app. Just text. You were on our path. She dropped the phone. It clattered to the floor. The screen stayed lit. The message stayed visible. And outside, the drums continued. Closer. Louder. Unstoppable. Because once you walk their path, they never stop walking toward you. This was the Forbidden Night Trail of Oahu, one of Hawaii's most beautiful and most feared locations. If you ever visit Hawaii, remember, some trails look safe during the day, but after dark they belong to something else. Tell us in the comments. Would you hike alone at night in a place like this? Why or why not? Your answer might appear in a future episode of Cursed Coordinate Nightmare Tourist Tales. And if you enjoyed this story, subscribe for more survival horror travel tales from around the world.